My buddy John gonna be pissed. So really quickly, when I walked out of this movie, I actually saw one of my good friends, John, who was in the theater. I didn't know that he was there at the time, but he comes up to me and I'm like, "Oh, John, I didn't know that you were here. You don't like horror movies." And he's like, "You better not give this film like a 6 or under." And I'm like, "John, I'm sorry, but film is subjective." Hey, what's happening, guys? Pragmatic Addict here. Just got out of the theater watching X. It is the new A24 horror film, and it takes place in rural Texas with a young film crew who goes to a farm or a cabin at a farm to film an adult film. And while they're there, the people that they are renting it from, the old folks, they're kind of sinister, fucked up, and they start going after them. So really quickly, this is being described as a slasher film, which I really want to talk about because it kind of isn't, but is. So this film, yes, I mean, there's not really too much to go about without sounding spoilerish, but it's really not. It's just, this film crew, they go to a cabin that they're renting out on a farmland from an old couple, and then the old couple starts going after them. Simple as that. And again, this is described as a slasher film, but the way that it sets up does not feel like a slasher film. The horror and the kills and the blood and everything, that doesn't actually start till minor spoiler, the third half of the movie, the last act. And this film is directed by Ty West. He does love to do these kind of retro horror themed films. He did films such as The Innkeepers as well as House of the Devil, which is my personal favorite of his. And the way that he sets this up as a slasher film, it is very reminiscent to slasher films. Not only from the camera work or the time that it's set in, but the way that he goes around to do his camera work, his cinematography. This is edited as well by Ty West, which I definitely want to point out. But again, yes, as this is described as a slasher film, the first couple acts really take time getting into that. It is really just focused on what these people are here to do, film an adult film. And as it leads up to the events that unfold that make the movie what it really is, it is all about the character development and spending time with these characters, getting to know each and every one of these individual people's mindsets, as well as their views on this thing, as well as their fears and their doubts that, about how maybe the old people don't know that they're doing this, or how they would react if they found out. So it does definitely take its time trying to craft up to what eventually unfolds, which I really did absolutely admire. It made me really happy that this wasn't just going in there and just, it's bloody, it's graphic, and we're just gonna kill these people off. No. And if you've seen films like House of the Devil, that one is kind of like the same situation. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about the House of the Devil, but basically this college girl is house sitting, and as she is house sitting, you find out that the people that she is actually house sitting for have something that they're hiding, and it definitely is in the same vein. It definitely takes time with that character's development and her getting adjusting to her surroundings and her settings and having her doubts as well as how she feels about the thing. It's very in that same vein. It is very Ty West-esque. If you really know Ty West, this is definitely a film by him. And one thing really quickly, now that we're actually kind of discussing about the setup and everything, the craft behind it, as these people are setting up and doing this adult film, one thing that I was kind of about is that as they're making this adult film, this may just be me, but as you watch them craft this adult film, I was just sitting there this ain't sexy. No. It's building tension, but this is definitely this is setting up for a fucking horror film. What are these people doing? Kid Cudi, his character comes up to the door where Brittany Snow answers, and he's like, "Hey, I'm stuck out here. I need a ride home. Blah blah blah." And then she's like, "Oh, my daddy can give you a ride. Blah blah blah. Come on in, hang out for a while." And then she's slams the door, and then he ends up meeting Mia Goth's character, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that was my sister. She's wrong. My daddy gets really angry I'll give you a ride. And she looks all fucking sinister, like milking a fucking cow. I'm like, this ain't sexy! This ain't sexy! So that was like one thing where I was like, That was like one thing I was like really hit and miss on, but another thing that I do want to talk about is just the camera work. Oh my god! Again, this is supposed to be like a take on like 70s slasher films. It takes place in the 70s, and it's Ty West. The movie's gonna look retro as fuck, and it really does. The camera work is probably my favorite thing about it. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm just watching the movie. A guy next to me is all like, hey, how you feeling about this? I'm like, I don't know yet, but it's beautiful to look at. And it really was. The camera work that he does with this, again, it is written, directed, produced, edited by Ty West. He did a phenomenal job with it. And this is like one thing that I said after the film is that I am so happy that a film like this, not just like with the explicit content, but the way that it was, as a fucking film alone, I am so happy that a film like this, a film in this vein, was made today with a wide release. Regardless of however you feel about it, if it didn't hit with you, if it didn't quite reach your standards, if things were just a little bit off, still, support a film like this. We need more like this, and I was so happy to look at this. But yes, going back to the film now, and like what it actually contains is that before I was going into this movie, I heard so much from my friends, from other reviews, don't eat and watch this movie. It's bloody, it's nasty, it's gnarly, it's a fucked up film. Oh my god, it's rough. And I just, one thing that kind of like lowered my kind of like taste for it is like, I was expecting this all out fucking like gore fest, this blood fest, and it really wasn't. It's got some scenes where I was like, quenchy. But like, one thing that kind of like, again, like lowered like my feel for it is that I was expecting to like watch this movie and be like, whoa, and I wasn't. There was no scenes where it really like gave me that even adrenaline, even. Like, there were scenes again where like it does some memorable shit. There are scenes in this that I would love to talk about, but I can't because it's not in the trailers. But there is some shit in this movie that you will remember. And this movie does things really good for the most part. It's just, as a whole, it didn't give me that excitement. It didn't give me that, again, that rush that I feel like I should have had with this movie. As well as how, like, you know, people were amping it up to be. And one more thing is that, in this film's defense, like, whether it's vein and what it's going for, jump scares should be necessary, right? They should be fine. Well, maybe not necessary, but they should be acceptable. There are so many damn jump scares in this movie. Ty West, come on, dude. You made a good movie, but goddamn. It was to the point where I was like, you're making me mad, bitch. You're making me mad. Because I don't like jump scares. I do not like jump scares. I don't fuck with those. They're cheap. There's a lot of jump scares in here. And at the same time, again, in the movie's defense, I'm like, it's fair, right? Like, it's fair. It's a 70s take on slasher films. Like, whatever, go for it. It's not that big a deal. But goddamn, the whole fucking runtime, guys. The whole runtime, there's a lot of jump scares. And that was like my biggest thing, other than the fact that throughout the movie, it's not that I disliked it or anything, but it was literally just watching it. There was like no real excitement, no real adrenaline or rush like I feel like there really should have been. So overall, guys, I know that this is a little bit lower of a score, but I'm going to give this movie a 5.1 to a 5.2. And really quickly, I actually want to talk a little bit about my rating really quickly before I'm done with this review, is that, so I know it's been a long time since I gave it a 7. Holy shit, I think it's like last night in Soho that I gave like a 7. So I know I give a lot of films 6s where people are like, oh, that's mixed, that means you don't like it. Yeah, I say mixed, which actually kind of took that mixed, rotten, fresh thing off of my rating system. When I actually put the grade up there, is because movies with 6s, they're decent. I don't know if I'd say that they're positive. Some of them maybe are, but they're decent. They're not bad. It's like the lowest of like, hey, I recommend it. You know, like 7 is good, 8 is great, 6, yeah, it's decent. So stop thinking that 6s are negative reviews, son, because they're not. With saying that though, this movie, yeah, again, just didn't give me that adrenaline, that rush, that excitement that I wanted out of it. Also, though, I will say this. stay till after the film. It wasn't actually brought to my attention until like last night, where my friend was talking to me. And he was like, "Well, you know, like Ty West actually shot a prequel to this movie called Pearl, and it's already done, and he's also working on a third film that takes place after X." I was like, "Holy shit, he's doing the whole franchise thing." And I was reading about it, and he's like, "Well, you can't make a slasher film without a bunch of sequels. You can't do it. You have to make sequels." And I'm like, I'm proud of his ambitions, because again, this movie is not bad. It just didn't give me that, you know, again, that adrenaline that I wanted out of it. But in saying that, this is a respectable film, and I'm, like I said earlier, I'm happy a movie like this gets made. It got made today, and I'm hoping that, you know, films like this can continue to get made. And Ty West as a director, I love what he's about, and I love his creations and his craft and his style, because we need it in this day and age of film. But yeah, stay till after the credits. You actually get a teaser for his prequel to X called Pearl, which, oh my god, just that trailer, I'm like, I wish I could find it on YouTube because I want to analyze it. It looks really good, and I'm telling you guys, if you like this movie, which I did for the most part, stay till after the credits, because that trailer, holy shit, it just, I'm so excited about this franchise going forward. But yes, guys, that is going to do it for my review of X. Again, I didn't dislike the movie. It's just, it was a movie where I just kind of sat down and watched it and left, which I didn't like that factor of it. There is a lot of, you know, again, stylish cinematography. There's a lot of scenes that I will remember that I would love to revisit and just check out again. Holy shit, I might even break out my fucking slasher collection tonight and just binge them. This movie is definitely respectful and respecting of the slasher genre. I just think that after the viewing, at least for mine personally, it was just kind of like, okay, I watched a slasher film in, you know, 2022 that should have been created in the 70s. I didn't disrespect the film. It was another slasher film to me. But yes, guys, that is going to do it for my review of X. I think my next review will be Deep Water. It is now on Hulu, and I am looking forward to it. I have been taking a break over these past few days, just giving myself a little bit time to relax and recuperate before getting back into reviews. But yes, guys, let me know if you have seen X, what you think about it. Let me know what you guys thought of the review. And I will see you guys in the next review for Deep Water. Take care, guys, and I hope you're all having a very good day.